All right, everyone, get ready because today we are taking a deep dive into a basketball matchup that could be historic. Gilas Pilipinas versus the New Zealand Tall Blacks. The FIBA Asia Cup Qualifiers are underway.
Yeah, they are.
And this game, on November 21st, it's a big one.
It is a big one.
It is a chance for Gilas to get a win at home.
Right.
And we are talking about a possible first-ever victory against New Zealand in FIBA competition.
Wow.
Think about that.
I am.
They have played 4 times before, and
4 straight losses, right?
Gilas is hoping to break that streak.
Yeah. You know what's really fascinating about this matchup is that it's not just about this one game, right?
Yeah.
The history between these two teams adds another level of intensity to it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, New Zealand has been dominant. They have that 4-0 record.
Right.
And they've outscored Gilas by an average of almost 30 points in their last 3 meetings.
Wow.
So this isn't just about getting a win.
Yeah.
This is about a potential upset.
Right.
A historic upset.
Of epic proportion.
Okay, so the history definitely sets the stage for a high-stakes game.
Definitely.
But what about the teams themselves?
Yes.
Both Gilas and New Zealand have gone through some pretty big changes.
They have.
Since their last game against each other.
Yeah.
Let's start with the home team.
Okay.
What's the current state of Gilas Pilipinas?
Well, Gilas is coming off a pretty strong showing at the Paris Olympics qualifying tournament.
Yeah, they looked good.
They got a big win against Latvia.
Right.
They fought hard against Georgia. A game they could have won.
Yeah, I think so too.
So there's definitely some momentum.
Yeah.
There's a feeling that this team is starting to click.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the consistency in the coaching staff with Tim Cohn.
Right.
The players know his system. And that stability can be a huge advantage.
For sure.
Especially in a tournament like this.
Yeah, and that continuity is something that New Zealand is not going to have this time around.
No, they won't. I understand they have had some major changes to their coaching staff.
That's right.
And their roster.
Yeah, big changes.
What's going on over there?
So after 5 years leading the Tall Blacks, Perot Cameron stepped down.
Right.
And Judd Flavell has taken over as head coach.
Okay.
Transitions like this always bring a certain amount of uncertainty.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we don't know how Flavell's coaching style is going to work with this team or if he's going to keep the same strategies that Cameron used.
Right.
And on top of that, it's not just the coaching staff.
Right.
There are also some key players from previous tournaments that are not going to be playing.
Oh, wow.
Including their leading scorer, Shea Ali.
Oh, wow, that's big.
Yeah, it's a big loss for them. In fact, only half of the Olympic qualifying tournament roster is coming back for this matchup.
Wow, so that's a very different team?
It is a very different team.
So on one hand, you have Gilas, who's familiar with their system.
Right.
They seem to be playing well together. On the other hand, you have New Zealand, who are going through a transition.
A big transition.
With a new coach?
Yep.
And a very different roster.
Yeah. A lot of new faces.
Could this be the opportunity Gilas needs to finally get that win?
It definitely creates a unique situation.
Yeah.
But even with all these changes,
right,
it would be a mistake to underestimate New Zealand.
Oh, of course.
They still have veteran players that can be really dangerous, especially on offense.
Yeah.
Guys like Isaiah Leafa and Corey Webster,
right,
proven scorers, you know, they can hit those big shots.
For sure, clutch players.
Yeah. And then you've got Tom Budanovic.
Oh, yeah?
The power forward, who actually spent some time in the PBA.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
He played the Philippines.
Yeah. He knows the Filipino style of play.
That's right.
And that experience could give him a real edge in this game.
Yeah, Budanovic, he made a big impression when he was here.
He did.
I remember him being such a force in the paint.
Yeah, he was a beast down there.
Yeah. And speaking of the paint,
oh, yeah,
New Zealand still has size.
Yeah, they do.
Tyler Harrison,
7-footer.
a 7-foot center.
Yep.
And Sam Wardenberg, who has been playing well in the Australian NBL.
He has.
They're going to be a challenge.
A big challenge.
So even with the roster changes, New Zealand still has those scorers?
Absolutely.
And that size?
They're big and they can score.
What about Gilas?
Yes.
Who are the players they'll rely on to counter that?
Well, having Scotty Thompson back from injury is huge for Gilas.
It is.
He's like the engine of their offense.
For sure.
A dynamic playmaker.
Yeah.
Creates opportunities for himself and his teammates.
He's so much fun to watch.
And then, of course, you have those twin towers.
Yes.
Kai Soto and Junmore Fajardo.
Oh, man.
If they can stay out of foul trouble
Right.
and control the boards, that's going to be huge.
It's huge.
That potential matchup in the paint.
Yeah.
Soto and Fajardo, Harrison and Wardenberg.
That's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a battle of the Titans.
That is going to be a key matchup.
One of the biggest.
To watch in this game.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
It should be fun.
But before we get too focused on individual matchups,
okay,
let's take a look at the big picture.
Yes.
I am talking about the stats.
Ah, the numbers.
We've got a side-by-side comparison of Gilas Pilipinas and New Zealand, and it shows some pretty interesting trends.
Let's hear it.
What do the stats tell us about this matchup?
Well, on paper, it looks like the Philippines has a statistical advantage in a few key areas.
Okay.
They're averaging 100 points per game.
Wow.
Compared to New Zealand's 88.5.
That's a big difference.
It is a big difference.
Yeah.
They're also shooting really well from three-point range, hitting 39% of their three-pointers.
Wow.
Compared to New Zealand's 29.6%.
That's huge.
And it's not just the three-pointers.
Okay.
They're also efficient from the free throw line,
right.
shooting 82.8%.
Okay.
Compared to New Zealand's 62.5%.
Yeah, those offensive stats are impressive.
They are.
It sounds like Gilas has the firepower to put up a lot of points.
They do.
But it's not just on offense.
Oh, it's not.
Statistically, they're also outperforming New Zealand.
Yeah.
In rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, points off turnovers, fast break points, second chance points, points in the paint, and bench points.
Wow, that's a lot.
Basically, across the board, the numbers seem to favor Gilas.
They do.
So based on these stats, it sounds like Gilas has a real chance at this upset.
They do.
But there's more to it than that, right?
There always is.
There always is.
Yeah, while Gilas has the edge in a lot of these categories,
right,
we can't forget about New Zealand's strength.
Of course.
They're shooting an impressive 65% from inside the arc, compared to Gilas' 55.2%.
Okay.
And even though stats aren't everything,
right,
they do have the higher world ranking. They're 22nd.
Okay.
Gilas is at 34th.
So you're saying New Zealand's experience and efficiency could still be a problem?
They could be.
Even if some of the numbers favor Gilas.
That's right.
So it's not as easy as just looking at who scores more points or who has better shooting percentages.
Nope.
It's about how those stats actually play out on the court.
Yeah, how it translates to the game.
And how each team uses their strengths to counter the other team's advantages.
You got it.
And that's what makes this matchup so interesting.
It does.
We have two teams.
Yeah.
With different styles.
Completely different.
Strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
The big question is which team can impose their style of play.
The big question.
And control the game.
Yes.
So before we get into predictions, let's break down what each team needs to do to win.
Sounds good.
Let's start with Gilas Pilipinas.
All right.
What are the keys to victory for the home team?
Well, for Gilas, it all comes down to tempo.
Okay.
They need to push the pace, use their speed and agility, create some chaos in transition. Their guards, especially Scotty Thompson, need to be aggressive, driving to the basket, either finishing strong or kicking it out to their shooters.
Right.
And we've seen they can shoot the lights out from three-point range.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially considering their stats.
Right.
You know, the three-point shooting.
Yeah, if he can get open looks for guys like Roger Pagoy, it could be a long night for New Zealand.
But how do they counter New Zealand's size?
Right.
You know, we were just talking about their big guys in the paint.
Yeah, that's where the battle of the boards is going to be crucial.
Okay.
Kai Soto and June, Mar Fajardo can't let themselves get pushed around. Yeah. They need to box out, fight for every rebound, limit New Zealand's second chance opportunities.
Right.
And remember, the stats show that Gilas has been winning the rebounding battle so far.
That's right.
If they can do that against New Zealand, it's going to be huge.
So control the tempo.
Yeah.
Get the shooters going.
Yep.
And win the battle of the boards.
Those are the keys.
It sounds like a pretty good game plan.
It's a good start.
But what about on defense?
Yeah.
What do they need to focus on to stop New Zealand's offense?
Discipline and communication are going to be key.
Right.
New Zealanders' veteran guards, Leafa and Webster, they're crafty. Yeah. They're experienced. Gilas needs to stay in front of them, avoid those silly fouls, and force them into tough shots. Don't let them get comfortable out there, especially beyond the arc.
Yeah.
And as for Vodanovic,
okay.
well, his familiarity with the Philippine style might actually work against Gilas.
Uh-huh, so?
They need to be ready for his moves.
Yeah.
His understanding of how they play. It's going to take a team effort to slow him down.
So Gilas needs to play smart.
Yes.
Disciplined basketball.
Absolutely.
On both ends of the court.
On offense and defense.
Now let's switch gears and talk about New Zealand.
The Tall Blacks.
How do they win this game?
For New Zealand,
Happy
it's all
13th
about
birthday,
controlling
Mateo,
the pace
our sweet, brilliant, and
exploiting
faithful
their
son.
size
Your kindness,
advantage.
humor, and love
They
for
need
your
to slow
family
things
inspire us
down,
every day. We're
run
so
their
proud of your
offense
amazing
patiently,
talents, your
and
dedication
get
to
the
serving
ball to their
God,
big men
and the
in the
joy you
paint.
bring to everyone
They
around
cannot
you.
get caught
Keep
up
shining and
in a
reaching for
running
the
gun
stars.
game
We
with
love you,
Gilas.
Mateo.
That plays right into Gilas' hands.
That's interesting because Gilas has been scoring more points.
Yeah, they have.
Are you saying New Zealand needs to slow the game down?
Yes.
And make it a grinded-out game?
Exactly.
Okay.
They need to make it a half-court game,
Right.
use their size, their physicality, and wear down Gilas' defense. Okay. It's like, imagine New Zealand is a heavyweight boxer.
Okay.
And Gilas is like a lightweight boxer.
You got it.
The heavyweight wants to slow things down, use their power, and deliver those knockout punches in the later rounds.
Okay.
The lightweight wants to be quick, agile, score points in flurries.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So New Zealand wants to be the heavyweight.
Yes.
Control the pace, use their size.
Exactly.
What else do they need to do?
They need to hit their shots.
Okay.
Especially from inside the arc.
Right.
Remember, they have a higher two-point shooting percentage.
That's right.
If they can establish their inside game, that will open things up for their shooters on the perimeter.
Okay.
On defense.
Yeah.
They need to make things tough for Gilas' guard.
Right.
Pressure the ball, deny those passing lanes,
Yeah.
and prevent those easy drives to the basket.
So both teams have a clear way to win.
They do.
But it's going to come down to who can execute their game plan better.
Absolutely.
Now, for the moment of truth,
Okay.
what are your predictions for this game?
This is a tough one.
It is.
On paper,
Yeah.
Gilas has a lot going for them.
Right.
The home crowd, the momentum from the Olympic qualifiers, and those impressive stats.
For sure. Yeah.
But you can never count out New Zealand's experience and resilience. Even with the new coach missing some key players,
Right.
they always seem to find a way to compete at a high level.
Did they have that championship DNA?
Yeah, they do.
It's hard to ignore that.
It is.
So are you leaning one way or the other?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I think this is the game where Gilas finally breaks through.
Wow.
I think the combination of the home court advantage, the energy of the crowd, and the confidence they've built under Coach Cohn will give them the edge they need to get that historic victory.
I love your optimism. And I got to say, I'm feeling it too.
Yeah.
I think Gilas is due for a win against New Zealand.
Yeah.
And this feels like the perfect time for them to make history.
It does.
But before we get too carried away celebrating, I want to throw it back to our listeners. Imagine Gilas pulls off this historic win. What do you think the effects would be?
I think it would be huge for Philippine basketball.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about a team that has consistently struggled against New Zealand. Imagine the confidence boost.
Yeah.
The validation.
For sure.
For the players.
Yeah.
The coaching staff.
Right.
The entire basketball program.
It would be like this collective sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Like finally.
We did it.
Yeah, we finally got over that hurdle.
That mental block.
Right.
Yeah.
What about the fans?
Oh, man.
Filipino basketball fans.
Some of the most passionate in the world.
Are some of the most passionate in the world.
The atmosphere in that arena is going to be electric.
It is going to be crazy.
A Gilas win would send shockwaves through Philippine basketball.
Yeah.
It would be a moment of national pride.
Yeah.
A celebration of Filipino talent and resilience.
You can picture it.
Oh, yeah.
The roar of the crowd.
Yes.
The celebrations on the court.
Yeah.
The headlines the next day.
Front page news.
It'd be a moment in Philippine basketball history.
Absolutely.
But beyond
the
immediate excitement.
Right.
What kind of long-term impact do you think this would have?
I think the inspiration it would provide to young Filipino athletes, seeing their national team beat a powerhouse like New Zealand, You know, a team that's had their number for so long could really ignite a new wave of passion and dedication for the sport.
So it's not just about one win.
No, it's not.
It's about those ripple effects.
The ripple effects.
Yeah. And the impact it could have on the future of the game.
On the future of Philippine basketball. It could lead to a larger pool of talent, more young players. Striving for that level of excellence. It could elevate the entire basketball program. Make the Philippines a real force on the international stage.
Now that's a legacy.
It is.
Worth fighting for.
It is.
As we wrap up this deep dive. I gotta say, I am so excited for this game.
Me too.
The history.
It's all there.
The personnel changes. The different styles of play. The possibility of an upset.
It's going to be a great game.
It's all there.
It is.
But no matter what happens on the court, one thing is certain.
What's that?
The passion and dedication of Filipino basketball fans.
For sure.
Will be on full display.
Without a doubt, it's going to be a game to remember.
Yes, it is.
A moment that will be talked about for years to come.
For sure.
So to all our listeners out there,
make
sure you tune in on November 21st and witness this historic matchup.
Absolutely.
This pivotal chapter in Philippine basketball history.
And while you're watching, let us know what you think. What are your predictions for this game? Do you think Gilas can get the win?
What do you think?
What does this game mean for the future of Philippine basketball?
Let us know.
Share your insights.
Your thoughts.
Your hopes.
Your excitement.
Your excitement, because we are all in this together.